This is such a powerful workshop that will help you to learn how to bring into the physical reality your soul vision, and to live the life you came here to live, your divine destiny. So it will be like a map. We'll have 7 steps that will help you and will take you step by step into this journey from clarifying your soul purpose to how to actually manifest it and bring it into the physical reality. So it's such a powerful experience. I hope you downloaded the workbook as well. If not, take a moment to have it with you, because at each step we're going to do some practices, some exercises. I will invite you to reflect on how this applies to you in your unique case, because we are all unique and each one of us have a unique path, right? So the principles and what we're going to share here, it's universal, but how it applies to you, of course, it's your unique individual path. So we're going to have here is the structure, the seven steps, but also the 3 principles we're going to talk about towards the end, how to actually implement this into our lives. So welcome again. I'm so glad you're taking the time to have this awareness and to expand your perspective, because we're going to bring a lot of I hope interesting perspectives, at least counterintuitive, that will help you better understand this process of manifestation, of quantum creation. But it will be from a totally different perspective, because you're going to see it's not focusing on the outside, but on the inside, the identity, who we are becoming in order for that reality to manifest. So take a glass of water or some tea, take the workbook, and let's begin. So as we're going to start with a very few simple theory parts, right, before we go into the 7 points, just to give the overview of how reality actually works. So we have here our little avatar. I'm sorry for my drawing talents are not so artistry, but anyway, I hope we'll manage to help you understand better how these principles work. So we come into this human experience, into this human body from source, from higher awareness, from consciousness, from energy consciousness, drawing, and from the subtle energy more and more dense into the physical, till we reach the root chakra, right? This energy gets compressed, and we form a physical body. So what we're supposed to do normally is to return to source, right? Raise the energy back. But what happens is, in this physical, which is a more dense reality, inevitably we have, even from childhood, experiencing traumatic events, things that feel dense or contractive. So what happens is that we block the energy flow, right? We block the flow in the energy system, in the chakras, and the energy cannot flow back. So what happens is that we feel a void within. So we're going to clarify now, what does it mean actually to when we speak about soul purpose versus goal or a mission that comes from the mind, which takes us into completely different paths. So we're going to clarify first what it means to align with your soul purpose, because it's so important. It's critical in actually doing this work. Otherwise, it will keep you in illusion and going in circles like we usually do, unfortunately. So because we don't feel whole within, we tend to search outside of ourselves, right? For houses, things, money, people, whatever, relationships, travel, whatever it may be, that we think is gonna fill this void within, right? So what happens is that when we have this events and even emotional wounds, we develop a protective personality, what we call an ego, with certain beliefs, limitations, worldviews, and so on. So from this, the mind actually makes up a strategy, what will bring us more pleasure and avoid pain or discomfort. And will come up like every time I use this substance or interact with these people or get attention or likes on social media, right? I tend to get some stimulation within. The energy rises. And for the moment, what happens is the energy begins to flow again, but it's just temporary, right? Because then we go outside again and we need an even more dose, right? Like a drug of energy in order to feel whole again. And we continue this cycle more and more. So what happens, because we're going to go to the first principle, is just now establishing the journey, how to understand why it's so important, the first step. Because we need to not rely so much on the outside, because when we are outside of ourselves, right, we lose our power, we lose our connection to the divine, to our true nature, to who we truly are. Because when we come back, actually, we are already whole and complete. All the love, all the abundance, all the safety that we are looking for outside, it's already within us. So we don't need to get it from outside. But when we are outside of ourselves and our attention, our consciousness is being drawn here, outside of ourselves, in things, people, circumstances, outside of ourselves, we believe in this story and we are being caught in the matrix. And what we feel is the mind is in charge now here, right? This is the mind is leading, the ego is leading our lives. And we feel like we need a soul purpose. We need a mission. What is my personal mission, right? But we're asking it from the wrong place, from outside of ourselves, which will take us even farther away instead of coming back, right? So the first principle, the first step, it's actually returning back to presence, returning back our energy from outside into our being, right? It's coming back to who we truly are and connecting back to our body, connecting back to what is true for us. So that we do that. We can do it very simple now. We're not going to go too much now, but it's just a simple practice. Just, if you will, just taking a deep breath in and relaxing, coming back into the body, and just imagine this central channel from the beneath your feet, above your head, and just breathe into this channel. On the inhale, raising the energy up. On the exhale, following the energy going down, activating this inner channel, the vertical tube, which is the center of our being. And the more we do that, imagine like you're drawing this energy from outside, like rays of light, bringing them in and aligning and just affirming, I call back all my energy within, right? So just relaxing the body, feeling more and more centered, coming back more and more into presence, right? So for that, we need to release, to free the outside world just for a moment. And then we can actually relax the mind. So the mind, it's actually agitated all the time. Does it happen to you? Like I have all these thoughts, I cannot calm my mind. The reason for that is because the mind is always trying to figure it out, how to control, manipulate things from the outside. But when you bring the energy within and feel whole and complete within, the mind can finally relax. And then you can actually feel what is happening within you. And the second step, right, we're going to go in a moment, it's actually how we actually remember our soul purpose. But we cannot do it from outside of ourselves, because our soul purpose is not something that will give us something. It's just an expression of who we are. So this is a very important filter. We're going to go in a moment, but if you will, please go to the workbook if you have it, and do the questioning for the first step, and then continue to the second. So, as I was saying, the second step is remember your soul purpose, and we cannot do it from outside. Our soul purpose, and with this training, you'll have also the MP3 activation, how to remember your soul purpose, activate your soul purpose. You can do it on your own. I invite you to actually do it, because it will put you first in a space of complete presence, where you feel already whole and complete within yourself, to amplify and to open to the space of love. Right, you're going to enter through a portal of infinite divine love, and from this space, it's actually when we remember our unique vibration, what we came here to express, to share with the world. Because the soul purpose is not something to get, it's what we give, and in our giving we receive everything. Right, all these things that we feel that we need, we are incomplete without them. When we are following our truth, our soul purpose, they will be magnetized to us, everything that, and even much more than we can imagine with our minds. All the right relationships, all the health and perfect alignment, our whole body is functioning much better, because when it's in alignment, the energy flows. All the disease and problems come when there are blocks within our system. Right, we open so much to creativity, to genius ideas. We become a channel of light and inspire others around us. We do the most fulfilling work. So when we do what we are meant to do, everything expands, and we feel so much joy, love, and everything is just falling into the right place. We open to synchronicities and miracles. We cooperate with this huge, immense energy and consciousness, which is, just think about, we are such a small speck of dust on a small speck of dust, which is this earth, in this huge universe, right? And everything is contained and supported by this consciousness, which is love. So our journey, it's actually coming back to ourselves, to wholeness. And of course, it's not going to happen instantly when we remember our soul purpose. We can connect with it. We can, in a way, transcend our human limitations and all the distortions that we formed, right? The ego, the protective personalities, all the distortions, everything that takes our energy away, right? So all this distortion in our fields, this is not letting us living our soul purpose, and always making us compulsively go outside. This is karma, right? If you want a different perspective and theory what karma is due to this, because we took the wrong decisions unconsciously in the past. So we need to come back to our true soul guidance, to our soul vision, because this is leading us to remember who we truly are, right? Because the next step, and before that, of course, go please to the journal, do the activation, the guided process to connect with your soul purpose, and do also the journaling in the workbook, because we're building here step by step. So the third step in our journey, how to bring our soul vision to life, is to embody your higher self. So, what is our higher self? Is this? It's the consciousness, it's our soul, because who we are this consciousness, energy, and only a part of us it's actually living in the body, right? But we are a multi-dimensional being, and our higher self is part of our self, our soul, who's living on a higher dimension. who's living beyond time and space, and who's, imagine just somebody living on the top of the mountain, which can guide us and can see our path, right? We are on the path. I don't know, should I take the red dot or the blue triangle? Because we don't know where to go, right? But our higher selves sitting on top of the mountain knows, come here, my darling, this is the right path. Even if for the logical mind doesn't make sense, our higher self always knows what is in our best interest, our highest path. And it's always communicating with us, but it's living at a higher vibration, right? So it's a gap of frequency from where we are in this human body, which has a certain frequency, which is determined by all the beliefs, emotional wounds, self-concept, and so on, right? Where what we focus, everything, it's vibrating at a certain frequency, and this is what actually manifests and creates our reality. What we broadcast, it's what we create into the physical reality, right? So the outside world, it's actually a reflection of who we are and what we broadcast, our identity, our frequency. So we broadcast based off what is our emotional state. I call it the emotional home, right? Like, what is the range where we usually function? What is our habitual emotions and state of being? Is it more towards shame, fear, or is it more towards optimism, love, acceptance, and so on? So what we broadcast, this is our reality, right? So our higher self lives on a higher frequency and is calling us home, but it's calling us through our heart's desire. So our heart is actually the one who is communicating with our higher self. When our heart is closed, we go into the mind because we don't want to feel, we don't want to be hurt. And when we go to the mind, we go outside of ourselves, into the world of illusion, into the matrix, into this never-ending loop of duality, right? Because when we are attached to these things outside of ourselves, there's always this pendulum. Because when we lose this, we go into suffering and so on. Like, right? I'm not going to go again into this. Let's catch the idea I was referring to. So our higher self lives at our higher potential, right? It's the version of ourselves who's living actually in the sixth dimension and is guiding us on the path to coming home, to wholeness, to everything that we ever wanted actually. So for that, of course, in order to hear the guidance of our higher self, we need to close this vibrational gap. So we do that, of course, in meditation. That is very simple because when we withdraw the energy, we can transcend our limitations, our human limitations, and connect with the higher self. And we can remember our soul path. As I was saying, the desire, the deep yearning of our heart, our divine destiny, our soul purpose, what it's our life that we can envision for ourselves, it's actually the path in order to embody our higher self, right? So this is the third step. It's to connect with the higher self. And in the workbook, you're going to have an interview with your higher self. In the meditation, you already noticed how your higher self feels like, what it's his or her energy. You connected with it. You can feel how it moves, how it feels like to be in his or her energy. So in the workbook at this step, you're going to have a small interview. How does my higher self behave, feel? What are his or her beliefs? What did he let go of in order to reach this frequency? Because this is who we are meant to be, who we already are in a higher dimension. But this is our identity, if you want, if you resonate with this term, but we can use frequency that we need to embody in order to manifest our soul purpose, right? Which is your life or your divine destiny, the life that you are meant to live here, to express, to share your gifts, to meet the people you are meant to live and create with. All the abundance, all that you need, and more than that, it's by following your soul purpose. But your soul purpose, it's a reflection of your higher self identity. So this is just as a star, as a direction, the vision, but we don't need to focus on the external, because again, we're going to give the power away. What we need to focus is on the higher self identity, to feel how your signature feels like, right? You're gonna remember what is the emotional energetic signature of my higher self. Is it peace, love, abundance, joy? How does my higher self walk? How does my higher self relate with others? What is this version of myself? And our only job is to embody and to live, to show up into the world as this version of ourselves. And this leads me, of course, to point number 4. But please do the exercises before going forward, because we're building step by step. So step number 4, we already did it. It's I already went into it. It's building the structure, the manifestation structure, because manifestation, it's actually structural. It's how the energy flows. Manifestation is just a flow of energy. And where is the power? Where is the path of minimum resistance? It's what will be manifested. What do I mean by that? We have the current reality. Let me put it with a different color. So we have the current reality, which is our ego identity, our personality, our protective personality, with all the conditioning, masks, compensatory strategies, and so on. And we have the vision, right? Our soul purpose and our higher self identity. And we said it's a gap, it's a frequency, it's a vibrational gap between the two. But one of the biggest mistakes that people make in manifesting, it's either not connecting with the vision and not having a strong pull, right? Because this vision is pulling us, is creating a tension, but a creative tension when we connect with it, right? But also one of the biggest mistakes is denying the current reality, right? Like, I don't want to experience this, and we reject parts of ourselves, of our human experience that we leave behind. I don't like this, it's too soft or too timid or too whatever, parts of our inner child, the shadows, and we reject them because our current reality is determined but what is in our subconscious, right? Parts of our shadows, parts of our inner child that we repress, we reject, and that's why it's never going to work. We cannot reach to our vision from nowhere. Like in a GPS, we need to put our current location and the destination. We have to keep both of them into our awareness. So what happens when we do that? It creates a tension within the two, right? Because I long for something, I want something, but I'm not there yet. So, but this is a good thing. We tend to think that tension is good, like discomfort, but there are two types of tension, right? Is the soul tension, which is the yearning for that amazing divine life partner, which is a calling, a yearning, or for the sharing your gift, for following your mission, how the gifts you're here to share with the world. And it's a beautiful thing because it's pulling you, right? And you have to increase actually this tension, because when you increase the soul tension, what happens is that you get wisdom, you get inspiration, you get nudges of how, because we don't know the how. This is very important. When you connect with your soul purpose, it's usually outside of your comfort zone, right? Your boundaries. You're living in this box of your current identity. Your vision, it's outside. Oh my God, I'm looking, what a mess is here. Please bear with me. I hope it makes sense and you're following. Oh my God, it looks terrible. Anyway, so your soul purpose, it's something that it's so beyond your mind can conceive that if you're trying to figure out logically, you're never going to do it because it's not logical. And if it doesn't make sense, oh, it's easy, I will do that. That's not your soul purpose, right? Because we have some limitations, some conditioning, especially some wounding, especially on our soul purpose, because we've been wounded, especially where is our biggest gift, and we developed protection around that. So that's why it's a path to wholeness and to integrating our biggest life lessons. So when we hold this tension between the current reality and the vision, what arises, it's inspiration. Our higher self is calling us and is telling us, follow this path, go to this trip, call this person, write this poem, whatever it may be, create this post on Instagram or whatever. And the how is being revealed step by step. And this leads me to the step number 5. But of course, before that, please do the exercises in the workbook. And there's also an ego tension. We're gonna go talk about it in one of the next steps. But I hope it makes sense and you can follow the logic behind this journey. So let's go to step number 5, which is closing the gap, is taking aligned action. This is how we're closing the vibrational gap. It's not only through meditation. We can do 100 times, 1,000 times the meditation and connect with the vision, connect with our higher self identity. But if we don't take action into the physical reality, and this is a myth that many people on the manifestation circle talk about, just visualize, feel the emotion, and nothing actually happens, because in the 3D, we need to take 3D action using the body. So, but there's a big difference between action and aligned action. So action usually means when we are outside of ourselves and our mind is telling us, do this, put more effort, hustle, work, struggle. We're used to this paradigm of the wounded masculine, and it's not working, never did, it never will. Even if for the short term it might get some results, but it's depleting us of our center, of our peace, of our true resources and alignment. So there's another way, an aligned way. When we connect with our soul purpose, and this is a daily practice, how to be divinely guided from our higher self, which I was saying is living on the top of the mountain and sees all the perspective. And our higher self is giving us the nudges, the aligned action. And of course, we're going to learn how to download this inspiration. We're in the Divinely Guided program, which is part of the Divine Destiny Academy, which is the whole journey where we go step by step in all this process of embodiment. We learn the process of how to translate, because your higher self is not going to speak in plain English. Not even so distorted as mine, like with my accent and so on, but it's going to speak to you through symbols, through nuggets, through inner feelings, and we're going to learn how to develop this relationship with our higher self and how to translate that into action, because this is the shortcut. This is, on the map, on the mountain, take this way, take this path. This is what is the most aligned thing that will give you the most results. This is how we uncover the how, the strategy, which I said it's unique to you. So, taking aligned action, which might seem uncomfortable, it's not something hard, but it will touch some limiting beliefs or some fear will bring to the surface. And this leads me to the next step. But of course, before that, see what questions are in the workbook, and let's go forward. So step number 6 is passing the tests. So what do I mean by that? Let's erase this mess. Passing the tests. What I call alchemical points, where it's a choice we have to make. Our life actually changes in these moments when we are taking some important decisions, the hard decisions. This is where our life actually changes. It's not only through the meditation or through the high states and practices and yoga and everything. All of this help. Of course, they are very important, but they are a support for the choices that we make in life. What I call the alchemical points. This is probably one of the most important teachings. If you get this, your whole life can transform. And if you develop the ability to make the right choice at the right time, in these moments of intersection points, I call them, when we are to make a choice, a decision, right? So somebody pushes our buttons. Right? So we are wanting to embody this higher frequency of our higher self. But of course, we have old conditioning from our ego. It's not going to give up so easily. It's going to test us. We'll give reactions, emotional reactions, doubts, fears will come up inevitably in this path daily, every moment. So we need, some are smaller, some are huge, which can feel like a vortex of energy that it pulls us to take action. And what decision we have to make? It's either continue on the how we used to react usually in the past, like when somebody says something, I react with anger and I lose my frequency, right? Or I withdraw, or I say it's not worth it, it's not working, and so on. So we continue on the how we used to be, and we fail the test. We go into the old identity, into the old conditioning, and we lower our vibration, or we can choose to respond differently towards our higher self and to increase our frequency, to hold our frequency, right? How would my higher self respond in this situation? But for that, of course, we need to have the inner stability. We have to develop the practices. We have to have the tools in order to be able to do that. So in Divine Destiny Academy, as I said, is the whole journey, how we do this process step by step together. One of the tools that we have here, it's a method, it's a live method called, where it's learning how to alchemize what emotions come up in this moment, but also changing the limiting beliefs, because we are telling ourselves a story. It's what does that mean? It's actually changing the perspective from how we see this person, event. So it might sound theoretical now. You have to experience in practice what that means. But it's basically being able to do things differently that you would normally do. And we can develop this capacity. It's something that it's such a unique gift for our human and divine existence, that we have free will, right? There are two important gifts that we have as a human divine being, or divine human being. One, it's free choice, and we can choose which path to go. And we have the gift of perspective. What that means is seeing from the top of the mountain what the story we're telling about this, and seeing from a different perspective helps us to take the right path. It's very important, because without it, we're going to go into blame and logic and stories. So we're going to default back. So passing the tests, right? Because the old identity is going to test us, and will test us in two things: emotions and thoughts. Emotions and thoughts, right? This is our broadcast, as I remember, right? We broadcast like a magnet and has a plus and a minus. The minus is the emotions, the plus is the thoughts. So this is what creates the reality, what we broadcast, our frequency. So if we align with our higher self identity, which has a different frequency, but we're not passing the test of the emotions and we go into reaction, we fail the test. We pass the thoughts test, which is mostly doubts, fears, the story we're telling ourselves, we fail the test. Right? So that's why it's important to have the tools in order to pass the tests and maintain the frequency. You know what I'm going to say before we go to the final step, which is very important because we're reaching to the end of our journey. Step number 7 is creating momentum and manifestation. It's how we stabilize into the new frequency. So if we're learning and to pass the test and developing this skill, actually what we're doing is creating momentum, so our energy can stabilize. And when we stabilize in our higher self identity, right, with a more expanded version of ourselves, I know, terrible. Anyway, we become a bigger version of ourselves, broadcasting a different frequency. And what happens, the reality, right, that we experience will be a completely different reality. So this is one of the key points also to remember. We don't focus on the external reality. The reality will be just an expression of who we are becoming, of who we are embodying. Our whole focus is embodying our expanded version of ourselves. If you want to call it higher self identity, our frequency, our next level identity, or whatever you want to call it, but you get the point. So when we focus on that, that means also shifting our beliefs, passing the tests, shifting our emotional frequency, right? And house where we live normally, because this journey, it's a hero's journey, by the way, if you didn't get that so far. We're becoming a different version of ourselves. Only in this way our reality changes. If you are trying to change the current reality from the old identity, is never going to work. It will be hustle, hustle, hustle. Your sole purpose, you're not going to be able to express it, to manifest it, to bring it to life from your current identity, from your ego identity. It's the only way is by expanding to a different identity and frequency. So I hope this whole journey makes sense for you. I hope it brought you more clarity. We have still 3 more principles to talk about, which will complete the whole picture. And of course, as I was sharing, we're going to explore all of this step by step in Divine Destiny Academy, which is the journey, which is a transformational program, which will help you to go from where you are in your current reality, remember who you are. It's actually based on 4 principles. The 3 ones are the ones that we actually did here. First one, it's remember, the first R. Remember who you are, your higher self identity, and your soul vision. The second one is like the tree, right? The second one, it's because this is actually what I'm sharing now. It's a different perspective of what we taught here in 7 steps. It can be summarized in 3. So it's like the tree. The first R is remember. Remember who you are when you connect with your higher self and your soul vision, right? Beyond conditioning, beyond distortion. The second R is release, releasing what is no longer serving you. The alchemy, right? What we said, where we have the tools, like a live method, how to alchemize the old wounds, beliefs, and to go to and transform that energy and actually integrate it in our being. Shadow work, all these things. And also the third R, it's rise as the creator of your divine destiny, right? It's part of embodiment, it's part of taking aligned action, where we have the courage, the resources in order to actually create momentum, pass the test, to put into practice. So all of them are part of the Divine Destiny Academy. And the fourth R, it's relate, right? Because the community, it's also such an important piece in this transformation process, because it's not easy. Your old identity, right, is going to pull you back because it feeds off with your energy, and it's going to test you, and it's going to claim you. Where are you going? Where do you think you're going? Right? So that's why it's so important to have others who support you, to see you in your higher self identity, to reflect that back to you, because it gives you conviction, it gives you power to go through all the challenges of this journey. So this is what we do in Divine Destiny Academy. This is we every week we're meeting and exploring one of these pillars, right? You have all the details in the landing page. Of course, there's also the online platforms where we have the programs, like some of them I mentioned here, right? And it's self-study. You can study them on your own. You have also workbooks for each program. And of course, there's the live meetings where we get support, ask questions, and so on. Final three principles, right? It's an important thing, because we need to have coherence between all these three parts of ourself: the superconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious. What does it mean? It means heart, body, and mind, right? Our whole system needs to be aligned into the leadership of your higher self. When it's awake, and your higher self is the only one who can lead your whole inner kingdom. If you have rebels in your inner kingdom, saboteurs, it's not going to work. So we're going to explore how we do this actually, and how to create inner coherence, and to have a powerful broadcast into the world. The second principle, it's balancing being and becoming. It's so important that we are such a paradigm, and this is one of the biggest keys to life: how to balance our human experience with our divine existence. Because if we focus only on one and neglect the other, we produce imbalance, disequilibrium. So I don't know if that's a word in English, but anyway, how to balance being and becoming. Being, coming back to your true self, but also in becoming, expanding, becoming more. It's such an important key in our evolution. Well, we won't have time now, but it's been one of the biggest lessons in my journey, because I went more into being in my hermit period. Didn't want to have anything to do with outside world, but we have to. There's no other choice. We have to participate in life, but we can do it only when we are stabilized in our being, when we develop our inner sovereignty, which, by the way, it's one of the foundational modules in the academy. And the third principle, it's co-creating with the universe. So when we are living in this way, when we are living our soul purpose, we're not alone. We don't do it by our mind. We are just a small piece into this universal puzzle, where we're becoming like a tree who is meant to produce a specific fruit. So we are using our free will not to do what we like, we think we like from our ego, but we're using our free will to align more and more with who we truly are, with the divine, with the will of God. So we do that by developing this relationship daily and moment to moment with the divine, with our higher self. And that's is the highest practice, I would say. It's the direct path to evolution. All these other practices, meditation, yoga, all these practices, breath work, are indirect paths. They support us. But the direct path of evolution, it's attunement and devotion to the divine, and to receiving guidance and implementing the will of God here and now, contributing and serving humanity in the way we are meant to be. This is the most fulfilling, joyful, abundant way of living. So if you're feeling cold, if you're hearing the call, this resonated with you, I invite you to this transformational journey in Divine Destiny Academy. Please see the details, and if it resonates, if it makes something, it's something that it's calling you, don't let the mind to take you off the journey. Follow that impulse, and you'll see you'll be a totally different person in a few months. Hope this training served you. And if you have any questions, reach out. I'd love to support you. Till the next time, namaste.